Don't touch that dial. We're about to flip it for you.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
I think the reason they were so popular among young people is that we give credit to our audience for being intelligent.
My goal was to get canceled in 4 episodes and just have people go, you got screwed.
I made the decision that I wasn't going to live my life as a lie anymore.
This is more a celebration of culture and opening the doors and allowing America to come on inside.
There's always something on television, and some of it may be better than we deserve.
Generation X, the 20-somethings, boomerangers, baby busters, whatever these 46 million young souls are called, are turning out to be kind of a hard sell.
In the 90s, what we realized is advertisers would pay premiums for college-educated young adults 18 to 49. And we started reinventing NBC and trying to speak to that audience.
Where is someone? I'm starving.
I think this is him right here.
Oh. Is there a table ready?
The Chinese restaurant was one of the very, very early episodes of Seinfeld. And truly nothing happened in the episode. They were waiting for a table.
I feel like just walking over there and taking some food off of somebody's plate.
We said to Larry David, hey, like, nothing happens. And Larry was offended. He was, like, wildly offended.
NBC believed in the show, so they said we're committing to 4 episodes.
Yes, yeah, right, 4 episodes.
Normally it's 13 or 8 or something.
Yes, at least. So we didn't really think that they had too much confidence in the show.
We didn't think it would work, but we felt that they had to go through their process and they would learn, and ultimately they knew better than we did.
My mother caught me.
Caught you? Doing what?
You know. I was alone.
The turning point for Seinfeld from, like, nice show that all of the cool people kind of know about, but that's it, to massive hit was the episode called The Contest, where they try to abstain from self-pleasure for as long as possible.
Yeah! 6:30, time for your bath.
George, I'm hungry.
Hang on.
Once you do 30 minutes on masturbation, you could pretty much get away with anything.
Well, I guess you'll be going back to that hospital.
Oh, my mother, Jerry.
But are you still master of your domain?
I am king of the county.
The week after that aired, people were talking about that in the workplace the entire week.
They still are talking about 52 seconds and 2 of the greatest words in sitcom history.
I'm out.
I think the big breakthrough of Seinfeld was that the characters were not nice people.
Someone help!
Shut up, you old pig!
They were narcissistic. They would screw each other over at the drop of a hat.
He's just a dentist.
Yeah, and you're an anti-dentite.
And yet be best friends the next week. We don't have to love them. We just have to laugh at them.
I'm really sorry.
The idea of a character with darker tendencies, that was so taboo in television comedy.
Are you about done?
Well, I'm just getting warmed up.
We're in the confines of network TV with commercials, with still a lot of things that are very highly structured, and yet we're able to find ways of pushing in those boundaries.
Nothing for you.
The audience was saying, we reward smart, intelligent, high-quality programming. And the more we were putting out, the better we were doing.
Friends is about that time in your life when your friends are your family. When David Crane and I lived in New York, we were part of a group of 6 people. We were all attached at the hip, and we went everywhere together and celebrated everything together. And there's that period where you're looking to be out there on your own, and the people you rely on are the ones who live down the hall.
Here we go. Pivot. 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 Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Friends permeated the culture in a way that was really special. Everybody was obsessed with the show, and it became like, which one of these characters are you? If you were a girl, were you Phoebe, Monica, or Rachel?
You know, I gotta tell you, this really does put me in a better mood.
The kids who were watching, the young audience, saw a lifestyle that was aspirational. I wish I had an apartment in New York City that no one seems to be worried about the rent for. I wish that I looked like Matt LeBlanc. I wish that I had Jennifer Aniston's hair.
One of the things that made Friends a phenomena was that people, beyond the laughs, actually bonded with these characters. They emotionally were invested in Ross and Rachel's relationship.
I couldn't have done this without you.
Okay, more clothes in the dryer?
I was dropping my daughter off for Sunday school at our temple. And literally, my rabbi stopped me and said, what's going to happen with Ross and Rachel?
Where's Chip? Why isn't he here yet?
He'll be here, okay? Take a chill pill.
The one with the prom video is one of my favorites.
I can't go to my own prom without a date.
Take her. You could wear my tux.
Dad, she wouldn't want to go with me.
This seemed like a really surprising way to get Rachel to know how Ross feels.
Rachel, ready or not, here comes your knight in shining. Oh, no.
Bye, Chip. Oh, dear.
Ross sees himself, and you see that look on his face and how sad he is because he wanted to take her to the prom.
When she crossed the room, I still kind of get chills from it. When she crossed the room and gave him that kiss. The audience went insane.
Okay, let's play show business. As a young kid in Cleveland, I always knew I would one day end up doing a talk show.
In less than 2 years, Arsenio Hall has fired his talk show for the MTV generation into a contender for the crown of late-night television.
How come I didn't hear all that woofing going on when I would watch
Too many white people. Johnny was the big dog, but I knew everybody on the planet wasn't watching him, and it dawned on me that I could go many weeks and not see a Motown group on The Tonight Show.
Arsenio Hall has been dubbed the Prince of Late Night.
There was a whole world of talent that had never and would never have been on any late night show.
Arsenio Hall. True Live Crew came on and sang Me So Horny. Like it was like the Sex Pistols. I'd never seen anything like it. It was an explosion in the audience.
He appealed to a black and white young audience, and it was a much broader appeal than the powers that be had estimated.
Rap is real big among our teens. That's poetry. The poetry of the ghetto.
Having Maya Angelou on, I mean, where would you have seen her otherwise?
Paul Laurence Dunbar in 1892 wrote a poem called A Negro Love Song.
It said, "Seen my lady home last night. Jump back, honey, jump back. Held her hand and squeezed it tight. Jump back, honey, jump back."
He didn't just have black people on his show. But if you were hip, you wanted to be on Arsenio.
This is something that I heard a political analyst talking about recently. He said you kind of were, I use the word chilling out. He said you were pulling back a little bit. You've been instructed not to say as much or be as outspoken. No?
I've heard that, but I never know who says it. I think it's wishful thinking on the part of some people.
Guess who suggested to Bill to do the Arsenio Hall show if you want to get a younger demo? Hill Dog. He attracted a lot of people who weren't fans before that night.
The 90s was a glorious moment for black television because you saw these representations that you'd never seen before. But the premise of The Fresh Prince was this kid comes from Philadelphia.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spend most of my days.
His mom says, "I'm going to send you to live with your uncle." He shows up at this mansion in Bel Air, baseball cap on backward, like he doesn't even know how to act in this environment. The black producers and directors and writers were always playing with this kind of subverting expectations of what is blackness.
The incredible work of The Fresh Prince at its most triumphant was when it was showing the ways that being black is always going to be a problem no matter what.
Vehicle registration, please.
Just a sec. But the thing is, officer, this isn't my car.
There's the episode I remember where they get pulled over in a car.
What? He's going to tell us to get out of the car.
You watch too much TV, Will.
Get out of the car.
They have an interaction with a police officer that is horrible and racist in a lot of ways. And Carlton has this epiphany about how money won't save him.
No map is going to save you. And neither is your glee club or your fancy Bel Air address or who your daddy is. Because when you're driving in a nice car in a strange neighborhood, none of that matters. They only see one thing.
The writers of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had a really hard task to approach these topics with nuance, and were doing it at a clip that was way ahead of their time.
Now, don't touch that dial. We're about to flip it for you to one of this year's most talked about TV shows. It is, as they say, on another network, Fox.
In Living Color was the first show that was created by, written by, directed by, starring an African American. All of those things in one.
This is more a celebration of culture and exchange. You know, us sort of opening the doors and allowing America to come on inside.
Yo, 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 all you bad bargain hunters out there, welcome to the Homeboy Shopping Network.
A lot of what they did on In Living Color was trying to take the stereotypes or the misperceptions about what black men are and turn them upside down.
Not only will you get like all the cable stations out there, but you'll be able to talk directly to the astronauts.
It brought this smart, very controversial comedy that black folks had never seen before that centered around their life experiences.
Who are you? I am the Minister Louis Farrakhan.
African Americans compose 25% of Fox's market.
I always get trapped in a corner with somebody named Bob. Hey, listen, Martin, I just saw Boys in the Hood, all right? I didn't know, Martin. I didn't know.
And they knew that they needed to capture this audience to grow.
Well, I guess you think you smart and cool. But if you think you're getting a job here, you a damn fool. Now get it out.
So they basically gave the black creators freedom to, do whatever you want. Just get the audience.
The WB and UPN took that concept from Fox.
Your shoulders are harder than cheap breast implants.
Going after this underserved audience of urban minority viewers and really ran with it.
I'm a new millennium woman who will not be defined by traditional female roles, okay?
A lot of the networks built themselves up
partially on African American viewers.
Shake it to the east, shake it to the west.
The African American shows indexed lower in terms of household income.
What?
So over the course of the decade, the network started to move away from those shows.
I don't know about you people, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna let them destroy my neighborhood.
Black creators felt used and abused. You made your money, you built your audience on us, and now, you're done.
In the 90s, you suddenly had shows that were aiming at a young audience. One of the things that really made 90210 stand out is that it was one of the first dramas to really get into the teenager's point of view.
Do you have protection?
Of course. It's always been my problem. Lots of protection, but no one to protect.
I wanted to do a TV series that was going to be relevant to teenagers. And it's not about the parents solving the kids' problems, it's about the kids basically solving their own problems.
What are we supposed to do? Sit them down, have a kid-to-parent talk?
No, you can't talk to parents on that mature level. Tragic, but true.
If the 60s had Beatlemania, the 90s had 90210 mania. And when TV Guide had its Youthquake cover, that was a sign that suddenly television was focused on these young people. My So-Called Life was like the punk rock version of 90210. It was earnest, but not at all saccharine. It didn't have easy answers. It showed teen heartbreak in a way that was staggeringly real for the time.
Why are you like this?
Like what?
Like how you are. Hey, Jordan, you coming or not?
How am I? How am I?
My So-Called Life was your actual life. And the idea that everyone in high school is a misfit, that you have this deep insecurity about who you're supposed to be.
You know how sometimes the last sentence you said echoes in your brain, and it just keeps sounding stupider? And you have to say something else just to make it stop? Oh, I just remembered. I owe you $30.
My So-Called Life was not necessarily the show that the cheerleader or the captain of the football team were watching. They were still watching 90210. But it was the people who maybe didn't recognize themselves in 90210 who felt like, aha, now I recognize myself in My So-Called Life.
DeMarco asked me if you were getting a sex change.
Exactly. I don't want to be a girl. I just want to hang with girls.
Ricky was out on the show eventually, and that was a storyline that was treated with great sensitivity.
That I belong nowhere with no one. That I don't fit.
It was so deeply felt. It was saying to the viewer, things that you have gone through, they matter.
Man, I hate high school.
Freaks and Geeks really sympathized with the losers. It had great empathy for its characters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I crush your Twinkies?
It was about the kinds of characters who TV didn't want to show you in their high school shows or treated them as the butt of the joke. And these were the people who the show put its sympathy behind.
Roll down the windows because I got a big one of brewing.
Oh, no, please don't. The young audience was the audience everybody wanted to get. And people on network TV could see that channels like MTV had that audience's loyalty and had the advertiser dollars to go with it.
This concept was explained to me as a real-life soap opera.
In 1991, we got a call from MTV, and they were toying with the idea of doing some kind of a scripted show about young people.
And they said it was like a mixture between The Big Chill and The Breakfast Club.
But ultimately decided the idea of a show with writers and actors would just be too expensive for them.
The real world, I guess that's what this was supposed to be.
So we essentially applied all the drama rules to documentary to get our, what we called at that time, a docusoap.
This is the true story. True story.
7 strangers.
It was kind of the social experiment to kind of watch what happens when you put these strangers together in a house. You know, when people stop being polite and start getting real.
Do you sell drugs? Why do you have a beaver?
You hadn't seen anything like that on television, that kind of open, honest discussion of race.
I can try as much as I can to try to deal with you, but ignorance is ignorance, stupidity is stupidity, and that's it. Black, white, green, purple, blue, whatever.
The real world becomes this kind of big bang moment for reality TV, where the idea is that, oh my God, all we have to do is just take cameras and put them on people, and we'll get great stuff. You had, in the next season in L.A., a young woman who gets an abortion, and the camera literally goes right up to the doctor's door.
You okay? Give me a hug.
By the third season in San Francisco, you have a young man who is dealing with AIDS.
I'm HIV positive.
When Pedro told me he was HIV positive, it was just like, no, not him. I like this guy, and I don't want him to have to suffer.
It was such a triumph that Pedro had the courage at his age to come out as someone with AIDS. In my small gay community on campus, we all felt like, wow, he was our hero.
He falls in love, and he and his partner Sean have a ceremony, and this is long before same-sex marriage was legal. The TV shows weren't doing this, movies weren't doing this.
I have to believe that all the pain that I'm going through, that all the anger, all the frustration, that there's something bigger than that.
AIDS has claimed a young man who made an enormous impact on a generation of young Americans. Pedro Zamora died in Miami today at the age of 22.
I'm really glad I got to know Pedro Zamora. I'm grateful that his rich and fulfilling work is still remembered today. And I hope you enjoy and learn from Pedro's life of compassion and fearlessness.
Tell us about the guy.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Why don't you tell us? We're just going to bug you till you know.
No,
it's too soon. It's too soon.
Come on. Tell us.
You big baby. All right. Her name is Marla. I'm seeing a woman.
In the 90s, gay characters were always secondary or third. There was never a gay character that was the lead of a show.
So, you want to go look at apartments tomorrow?
Great idea. Ellen DeGeneres, the comedian, was about to come out as a lesbian. And she does it on Time magazine, yep, I'm gay. But they decide that the character that Ellen plays on TV will also come out.
It is just reprehensible that ABC, now owned by Disney of all companies, is going to feature Ellen as coming out of the closet. It won't be long before God knows what, bestiality, incest, who knows.
We were getting bomb threats. Disney was really getting a lot of flack for even thinking about having a coming out episode with Ellen.
I'm 35 years old. I'm so afraid to tell people. Susan, I'm gay.
Ellen coming out was a huge moment for me personally because, I was a closeted gay guy, a gay child at that time, and it was the bravest thing I saw.
That felt great. That felt so great.
Initial reports suggest ABC made a bundle on Ellen's highly publicized outing on national TV last night. The broadcast was accompanied by coming out parties all around the country, including one in Birmingham, Alabama, where the local ABC station refused to broadcast the show.
She did a great thing. She was brave.
I made the decision that I wasn't going to live my life as a lie anymore. I belong with everybody else. And that's what I finally did.
We used to say Ellen opened the door and we knocked it down.
Hey, sister, I love my Mr. Mail. Tell me lazy, tell me slow, tell me I'm crazy, maybe I know. Can't help loving that man of mine. Take a jacket and pot of beret and souffle. I'm gay.
Will and Grace was a great show in sort of helping a mainstream straight community connect to the gay community.
I think I can fix this thing with your landlord, but I get a little ugly.
Play hardball, baby. Throw him low and inside. He's crowding the plate, and we've got to go for
sports. You're losing me.
I figured 25% of the country wouldn't watch the show, just based on the fact that we had two gay men on it. But if we could make believe that Will and Grace would get together.
Will, I told you, you live with a hetero long enough, you're going to catch it.
Maybe we could get people to watch thinking that would happen, knowing it would never happen.
Suffering Sappho.
You know, it's a shame. An image like this is completely wasted on us.
I remember the network calling every other week saying, can Will just fall in love with Grace? And the creators were like, well, that's weird. He's gay. That gay people don't do that. That's why they're gay.
Why wasn't I your girlfriend, queerbait?
Will and Grace was the first time you saw characters on television that made gay normal. You wanted to be friends with them.
Guess what we are? A Catholic girl gone bad. And Karen, what are you supposed to be?
There was a kind of opening of the floodgates in the 90s in terms of allowing yourself not to be perfect.
If you're a successful saleswoman in this city, you have two choices. You can bang your head against the wall and try and find a relationship, or you can say screw it and just go out and have sex like a man.
Sex and the City was a huge success right from the start. It was very funny and very clever and very candid.
Are relationships the religion of the 90s?
These are women who were making a good living, they were independent, they were single, and they were sort of feeling their power.
I said olive.
What do you tip for them?
I wanted these women to be objectifying their men in the way that men had always objectified women.
Alrighty. My turn.
Oh, sorry. I have to go back to work.
You didn't used to be able to discuss sex as sex on network shows. There never were people talking about orgasms or organs or sex.
The show took an interesting turn by really focusing on the relationship between the women and telling the story of them as really soulmates together as well.
You did the right thing buying that apartment. You love it, right?
Yeah.
And you won't be alone forever.
Historically, women are often set up in narratives in which only one can succeed. And so showing women not competing with each other and as supporting each other was also an important narrative change.
Okay, girl, see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Night.
The show had a message of freedom and liberation, especially for women, that really resonated. I think Sex and the City helped make HBO a place where people would think, I wonder what they're doing next.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Johnny Carson wasn't just the host of The Tonight Show. Johnny Carson was the man that America said goodnight to for 30 years. And on my watch, Johnny decided that 30 years was a great time to take a bow and say thank you and good night.
30 years is enough. No. Yeah, it's a good time to get out while you're still on top of your game plan.
Johnny had told no one what he planned to do, and we weren't prepared. And that set off a game of musical chairs for who would get the throne, and there only was one late night throne.
Hi, you guys!
Jay Leno had been pretty much Carson's regular substitute host when he went on vacation.
You know what's amazing? Now, this is true. Only 6 months ago, people were talking about Donald Trump as a presidential candidate. Right? That's true. Now, since then, he's had an affair. He's left his wife. He's run up a debt of several $1 million. So I guess he's going to be running as a Democrat, huh?
Jay Leno wanted to essentially just continue doing a Johnny Carson type show. And David Letterman was the show immediately following Carson. And they had different styles.
What is your name? I'm going to ask you to turn the cameras off, please. Okay, we just wanted to drop off this basket of fruit.
Part of Dave's thing used to always be attacking authority. He liked that.
Cut the cameras, please.
He needed a corporate bad guy to go up against. I was oftentimes that target.
I can hear this Warren Littlefield guy whining all year long about not getting his name on the card last year.
He's on there.
So he's, oh, wait a minute, look, what about me? Just put it on there. Me, I could be on there, couldn't I? Who is it?
It was always Letterman's dream to be the host of The Tonight Show. He idolized Johnny Carson, rightfully so.
The big decision that's had the entertainment industry buzzing is due this week. That, of course, is the fate of NBC's late-night stars Jay Leno and David Letterman.
Most of us thought the person who deserved to get it was David Letterman.
He didn't get it. Jay Leno got it.
Thank you. When we found out that Leno was going to get the Tonight Show, we were all obviously depressed. We felt like we were being punished for making fun of them and not cooperating and not being as collaborative as we could have been. And we also felt like we were being disrespected because we did 11 years of great shows.
Just how pissed off are you?
By all rights, David Letterman should have taken over for Johnny Carson. But his agent took a very, very aggressive stand. We're going to really control all of late night. It's going to cost you a fortune. And they put our backs to the wall.
I can only tell you that it has been an honor and a privilege to come into your homes all these years and entertain you. And I hope when I find something that I want to do and I think you will like and come back, that you'll be as gracious inviting me into your home as you have been. I bid you a very heartfelt good night.
The Tonight Show, without Johnny Carson as the regular host, made its debut last night. Jay Leno emerged from behind the curtain, stepping into the big shoes that were filled for 30 years by Johnny.
CBS came to us and made a very attractive offer.
Here we go, number 10. Head CBS, tails CBS, number 9.
Letterman did place a call to Johnny Carson asking for his advice. And Johnny said, if it was me, I would leave. And I think that advice was really the linchpin. Letterman always took Johnny's advice.
The late night wars are about to begin in earnest on American television. David Letterman is now headed for CBS.
CBS had lured him over with a salary more than 4 times that of Leno and given him what he really wanted, the 11:30 time slot. Now, as Dave and Jay prepare to go head-to-head, one thing is clear. Late-night TV will never be quite the same.
All of a sudden, there's a talk show war.
Start up your remote controls. The late night race is about to begin. On Monday, David Letterman's new show debuts here on CBS. Followed a week later by Chevy Chase on Fox. And a week after that by Conan O'Brien on NBC. These combatants join The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Arsenio, and Nightline.
It became a crowded space, and the competition became that much more difficult.
Some TV writers think that Arsenio could be the big loser in this free-for-all.
I'm sad to see you go because America is going to have a big chunk missing out of its existence.
Losing Arsenio, yeah, it was bad. He was the lone voice. Gone.
David Letterman had the suits at NBC pausing for a moment. Did we make the right choice? Because he came out gangbusters and he was beating Jay Leno in the ratings.
There's some people who say you blew it, that by picking Leno to replace Carson over Letterman, that was a big programming mistake.
It was a shaky start, a really, really shaky first season start.
Well, it's true confessions time for actor Hugh Grant, who's trying hard to put his recent encounter with a Hollywood prostitute behind him.
When Hugh Grant was arrested, it was big live action news. And Hugh Grant was supposed to do The Tonight Show that night.
What the hell were you thinking?
It all came together in that moment, and everyone saw it, and that's it. We were never number 2 again.
For us, it was a fun experience. Hey, we got our own theater. We got an unlimited budget. We've got access to every star in the business who wants to do the show.
Somebody bring me the jaws of life!
So I think going to CBS was heaven sent. It really was.
As the decade starts, fantasy, sci-fi, those were not big things on television. You went to the movies for that.
It's kind of hard to pin down what exactly the X-Files is. I mean, on the surface, it's a show about investigating paranormal activities.
Unidentified flying objects. I think that fits the description pretty well. Tell me I'm crazy.
Mulder? You're crazy.
That dynamic, that dramatic tension of believer versus skeptic is one of the engines of the show, and you were always seeing it from a specific point of view.
They're equals. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're equals, and in a way they've kind of switched gender stereotypes because the character I play, Mulder, is the intuitive one.
Large intestine.
And Scully is the rationalist, the doctor.
A lot of folks who enjoyed The X-Files who otherwise didn't watch TV might have been drawn to the show by its, for lack of a better way to put it, its stick it to the man ethos. It's a don't trust the government, don't trust big business, don't trust anybody but yourself and your friends and family, I guess. It's a message that's somewhat dark and cynical, but was kind of a breath of fresh air in the early 90s.
The 90s was a time of conspiracies, and the internet was starting to spread beyond just like hardcore computer users, so you could have message boards and Usenet news groups, and everybody wanted to talk about the black oil and the bees and Mulder's sister and what the cigarette smoking man was up to. And I would go to alt.tv.the-x-files, and people were so nuts for this show.
It's just pure science fiction, and that's probably what I like most about it.
I definitely think that the X-Files influenced nerd culture and nerds taking over culture. People realized, well, this isn't just niche programming. This is an opportunity to reach a wide audience. And so it did lead to shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a major work of American art, as far as I'm concerned. Buffy the Vampire Slayer depicted high school in a similar way to my so-called life, except rather than just feeling like hell, it actually was hell. Her high school was literally built on top of hell. And so all of these creatures would come up that she would have to fight.
Three in one night.
And it was a brilliant metaphor for adolescence and all the demons that you have to slay.
You know, Buffy was a teenager and she was still finding out who she was. One of the storylines that was very popular and much talked about was where she has sex with her boyfriend for the first time, and then in sort of the world of Buffy, he becomes literally evil.
There must be some part of you inside that still remembers who you are.
Dream on, schoolgirl.
In order to save the world, literally, she knows that she has to send him to hell. Buffy knows in an instant that Angel has become good again.
Buffy.
And so she has this moment of reckoning that she has to decide whether to do this or not, and she makes the sacrifice to push him back into hell.
The show was really working on multiple levels, and in Buffy in particular, we saw a character that was a reluctant protagonist, forced to make tough decisions.
Because 90s television was trying to do something different, that included who was held up as a hero.
Television showed us women in their depth. It began to show us much more of a range of the African American community.
I'm always here for you.
We started focusing on teenagers in a more realistic way.
Things change, Dawson. Evolve.
What are you talking about?
And thinking a little more outside the box in terms of what people might want to watch.
You're out of order, he's out of order. This whole trial is sexy.
By the end of the 90s, it feels like a 300 network world. And that means an explosion of opportunity for all sorts of different stories to be told.
Was that the oven timer? That's right, my friend. It's time for Baywatch! Can you believe they gave Stephanie skin cancer? I still can't believe they promoted her to lieutenant.
You're just saying that because you're in love with Yasmin Bleet.
Well, how could anyone not be in love with Yasmin Bleet? Hey, they're running. See, this is the brilliance of the show. I say always keep them running. All the time running. Run. Run. Run, Yasmin, run like the wind.